Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Tim Burton's Pee-wee's Big Adventure in 1985. So here we are with another on this set, the Blu-ray set, Tim Burton 8 film set. And yes, today I thought, why not watch the debut film, feature film of course, from Burton. I'd never seen this before, never even seen it on TV, I never even seen it as a kid or anything. I just, I had heard things about it, and it's more of a cult film, you could say, than anything, and of course a comedy adventure film. Pee-wee, of course, is created by Pee-wee himself, Paul Reubens. Basically, of course, I've not seen anything else, with Pee-wee in it, but it was created, before this film, and Tim Burton, he didn't actually create the character, but he directed this film. In his first debut, his debut directorial role, and basically, yes, this film, as I say, a cult film, a bit divisive, you could say. Critically, it's not too strong. For example, Gene Siskel, really hated the film. Roger Ebert, I think, I don't really know his thoughts on it, but I think he was more positive. And it's got less than a 50 on Metacritic. So it's very, very split in that sense. But Rotten Tomatoes, a bit higher, and fans, most people, more positive towards this film in terms of fans. And yeah, it's known as one of the better Tim Burton films, you could say. And yes, I didn't think when I saw a clip before watching the film, just kind of looking at images, it's literally 10 seconds I saw, and it's actually turned out to be one of the early Yohn scenes. And just kind of seeing images of Pee-wee, I thought, it's probably not for me, and to be honest, I don't think I'll like this film, with all honesty. It'd probably be too much, and just a bit too stupid. And I watched the film, and I understand, if people, despise this film. I understand if they hate it, it's definitely not for everyone. I liked it, I did actually like it. I thought, yes, it has a lot of flaws for me, and there's moments where it does go too over the top, especially the first half an hour when he's kind of, in his kind of hometown. And basically, yeah, he kind of lives, Pee-wee lives with his dog, and Speck, I think it was, and yeah, he's in this house, and he's a very, very strange character. This is kind of a fantasy film, you could say, very much, its own thing. It's very, very unique, in that sense. It's nothing like anything I've ever seen before, and you could say that's in bad ways, and it has flaws, it does go too over the top at times, and yeah, just at times it is stupid, it really is, but and just some certain moments that just, they are random, but I think, as we say, he's in his house, and he's soon going about his life, and one of his friends wants his bike early on, and after a while, and his friend is Dottie, played by Elizabeth Daly, and you see him with her and everything, and then his bike gets stolen, his red bike, and you find out later on in the film that it's not just an average bike as well, but yes, basically his bike gets stolen, and then I'm not going to get into too much, but basically he goes to Alamo because he thinks that the bike's been taken there, and he basically, after half an hour mark, just below that, kind of it's an adventure film, kind of a road trip film, where he goes in search of his bike, and he ends up going on this kind of journey, kind of changes him, you could say, and yeah, he kind of, as the film goes on, I think it gets probably better and better. I think, it started off, very flawed, but I still liked it, and then, I think it got better and better, really, and some of the chase scenes, towards the end of the film are actually very good, very impressive. This film, it's not for everyone, that's for sure. It's very much its own thing, and if you don't buy into the tone of this, which is very much an over the top one, and it is it's a film though, even though it's a comedy that's over the top, basically, it's not, for me, it's not mean spirited, and it's very, very charming. Pee-wee's not a great character by no means, but he is the one that I liked. I think, especially as the film went on, and I just I felt that there's an innocence to his character, and yes, at times, it's a bit basic, the humour. But other times I think actually it is really good humour. And I think the script is actually decent at times. It's not always great. For example, the scene where him and his friend goes, "I know you are, but am I?" That scene, it's not great writing, and it's not a great scene at all. But it has got its moments in the script, and about chasing your dreams as well. I think that's well done. I just think once it becomes an adventure film, all the different people that he meets, I just think it's just adds up for a charming film, an enjoyable one. Very, very, just kind of made me feel good, and a warm one, a charming one. You could say at times quite magical, whimsical. I think at times, it's kind of, I think it's got elements of, silent cinema on there, a little bit, and I think it's a physical performance, just as much as and the fact that of course it's very, very over the top, but it doesn't, for me, it never seems gets to a point where it breaks the tone, really, because the tone is established very early on, not to be taken very seriously, but it's a very particular one, and it's so full of charm and energy that it just doesn't. It never really got to a point, even when it did go too far at times, and it was just a bit random. It never angered me, and I can understand how people, would be angered by it, and just don't like, wouldn't like it, but I did. I think, it's very flawed, this film, certainly early on, but it has got some impressive stuff in there, and I did enjoy it, definitely, I really did, and I think, it's got quite a lot going for it. The cinematography as well, this is Burton's first film, and actually it's well directed. I think it's impressive actually, especially for a debut film. It really is impressive, and I think that's one of the things. And the cinematography is wonderful. Actually, at times, really great use of colours. There's a couple of moments where the kind of zooms and everything are a bit stupid, a bit in your face, but really it is the cinematography overall very good. Editing very good, and I just think it has like this. Yeah, it has a kind of dreamlike look, which is kind of adds to it all because it is very, very bizarre. But I think Burton commits to this, and I think it is well directed, and that's one of the things that stop this from being, Pee-wee is a character who, he is very out of control. He's kind of spontaneous. Yes, he is a bit random in his nature. And he's very, very over the top. But combine that with the fact that Tim Burton, I think Tim Burton was in control of this film mostly. So that kind of makes it, controlled, mess, you could say. Not a messy film, but you know what I mean. Kind of, it's an out of control character and other characters as well. But it's kind of controlled in that way, in that sense. It's hard to explain. You just kind of watch it. But Burton, I think, he really has an eye for this as well. The colours and everything. It's just a very nice look, very nostalgic, kind of an innocence to it, a purity, in the visuals, and very, very creative stuff as well. The kind of props and everything. You could say it's trademark of Burton. It's kind of here already. I think actually there's quite a lot of kind of physical stuff and kind of set pieces that are very impressive, and yeah, they are kind of reminiscent of silent films. Actually, I think. Especially the chase scenes towards the end, I really like them scenes. I think Pee-wee is a character. As I say, he's not great, but he is a character that I liked. I definitely felt for him. There's an innocence to this film. A kind of a childlike, innocence. And it's just the one that I think, if it didn't have this, if it didn't have Tim Burton directing it, and or just a confident director, it could definitely have gone out of hand. It's got a good script, but it's not got a great one, and the characters mostly are over the top, but it manages to work, and at times it doesn't quite, achieve what it does falter definitely. It's not a perfect film for me, but I think most of the time it is actually controlled, and especially the early on parts were the most flawed. I feel it was nice, it was kind of charming and everything, but it was very, very flawed. It's more random at this point, but then once he goes on the road, I think it really gets better and better, and I think I can call it a good film, despite it has a lot of flaws for me, and a lot of the time it does go over the top. It is flawed, and it's not a great film for me personally, but I think it's a good one. I did enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie. I actually, certainly in a lot of it, I did really enjoy. At times, it was just a very warm film, very charming film, kind of innocent. A good adventure film, I think. I just think most of the characters, not all of them, but most of them, including the waitress, the biker gang, all this kind of stuff, all these people, and the kind of guy who's he basically is an escaped prisoner and stuff, and he has a gun and everything. He basically, all these people, they're kind of really memorable, and it really wraps up really well, towards the end of the film, all this stuff, and it's just very memorable. A very charming, warm film, and definitely got some flaws, a lot of flaws, early on. Because of that, because it goes too far, and I couldn't, it was random at times, and it has some flaws in the performances. Pee-wee, as I say, is not a great character. I liked him, but he's not a great character. He's not got loads of development, but I think he does develop as the film goes on, and although he is a very very kind of an insane character, I think there is a development to his character definitely, as the film goes on, and mainly by the experiences and everything. I liked the character of Dottie. I liked their friendship. I liked the dog as well when he was in it, and I liked this film. I think it's not for everyone. It's very very bizarre. And kind of it definitely is a comedy. It's not a comedy where you can be truly moved by it. I don't think it's at the same time it's not a Chaplin or something. But for what it's trying to be, I think it is a good film with some very very good stuff in there. I just can't call it a very good film because it is certainly early on very flawed. And it's very very bizarre at times. A couple of places it is a bit random. But I think this film is good. I liked it, and at times I very very much enjoyed it. I think it was a surprise. I think I didn't expect to like this film at all. I'll be honest. It just looked. I thought, it's probably going to be too much for me. It's just going to probably be really really random and something that I didn't enjoy. But I was at times it was slightly touching. I think it was an enjoyable film that I would definitely look forward to watching again at some point. It's kind of very very upbeat and it's energetic. At times, a bit too much energy. It goes a bit too far, of course. And there's many moments in the film early on that are just they're not good for me personally. But I'd give it a 70%. I think it really it was a good film. I think I can't say it was very good or great personally, but yeah, I think it's a divisive film, but I'm on the positive side of this one. I think it's a good film. An impressive debut for sure. Really is, and it's not really anything close to what you kind of and the trademarks and the kind of the tone and all this kind of stuff of later Burton films. Really at all. But it has got slight touches of his trademarks in there. But yeah, I didn't think this would Tim Burton would ever kind of make a film like this. But I think he done well. I think definitely a film to be proud of. Personally, I know not everyone will like this film, but I did. I did like it. At times I really liked it, and very very feel good film. That's what it is. As well. Really well shot. I think the action scenes are mostly very good, especially towards the end. I really liked some of the encounters that he had. And I really liked as well what they done at the end, and it's very good and kind of smart. It's not a dumb film. This overall, it is a smart film at times. And not a one to be taken seriously. If you don't get attuned to the tone of this film, you probably will not enjoy it because it's a one that this is not a film to be taken seriously. But I think it really is a warm film. Charming film. I think the character was very innocent of Pee-wee, and there's a couple of places where he's a bit annoying, but it's not a mean-spirited film. I think it's very warm, sincere. It's good intentions. It's not a film that kind of is aggressive or anything. It's not like a lot of comedies now. It's not like an Adam Sandler comedy or nothing like that. It's very very I think kind of good intentions, and it's got some human moments. Definitely, there's a humanity to Pee Wee's character underneath if you look. So yeah, good film. 70%, which is definitely a solid and impressive debut from Burton. I think I probably enjoyed this a bit more than Corpse Bride. So yeah, it's not one of the best Burtons or anything, but I did enjoy it. I think it's not one of his worst, that's for sure. And it's I think it's a divisive film, and completely understand if people do not like this film. I can imagine it would really annoy people. For me, it didn't. I liked the film. I did. And I suppose maybe my enjoyment's a bit higher than the score I've given it. This critical rating, and very flawed early on, still flawed after that, but it's a good film. I think it's an impressive film, made me feel good, and at times, really funny film. I found myself surprised that I was enjoying it so much. But yes, I think Pee Wee's Big Adventure, a good film, and I would recommend it. But I would say not everyone will enjoy this film. It's not a film like Edward Scissorhands where it's a film that most people I'm sure would not hate, but this one I suppose it can be divisive. I can completely understand that. But yes, thanks for watching, and I look forward to reviewing more Burton films fairly soon. So yes, thanks for watching my review of Pee Wee's Big Adventure.